When Charyung grows up, he wants to be like his father. But his father always says he can't be like him. It was a memory that came to him in a dream. Zeke Ezerm came to see him and peeled his fruit. Zeke Ezerm personally knew Charyung's father. They had worked together in the same unit. 2 years ago, Chae-ryong wanted to answer everyone who did this to his father. The protagonist has only 2 goals: to pay for his father's medical expenses and to keep living until a cure is invented. But Zeke also has questions. Why he is Yu Sung's son, he is not registered in the documents. Even then, when my father was hospitalized, he grew up alone. Zeke says that there is a destroyer dragon named Duganahi, and it is his poison that Yu Seong is poisoned by. Dragons were the only ones who could break down walls and let other monsters in. They were stronger, smarter, and more cunning than any race of this world. Instead of destruction, they chose the path of waiting so they could then play deities with humans to honor them. They thought humans couldn't handle the dungeons. Only their plans were decided to ruin by Father, who destroyed the first dragon, showing that humans still claimed the land. Zeke told the big secret. Duganahi is the dragon leader that Yu Seong was chasing before his illness took him down. He's very afraid of him. To make the medicine, you need to catch this dragon. Only he knows the way to heal his father. Zeke himself can't manage. Very strong magic. Dragons are very cunning. They can disguise themselves as humans and live in this image for decades. If you catch one, the others will immediately hide. Zeke offers Cha-ryung to join a secret dragon-catching squad. Only the best hunters are there, but Cha-ryung himself needs to upgrade. Chae-ryong began to hesitate. He was shocked by such sudden and surprising news. His father could be cured of this disease. Perhaps it was worry or fear that he wouldn't be able to take part in the revenge. Though that wasn't the final answer either. He felt joy. At this time, a nurse came in and asked how his arm was doing because they had reassembled it. Cha-ryong was very lucky. He was treated by the best healer in this hospital. He reassembled his arm. It will be sore at first, but then his body will get used to it. Tyr Belkison was discharged the same day they were both brought in. He has a high recovery rate, so he didn't need serious help. The nurse said he could be discharged. Only problem is the hospital is full of reporters because of one video. This video has racked up over 8 million views. The Ultra Manhwa Recap channel isn't even close to those numbers yet. Please help with that by liking and subscribing. In addition, the nurse handed him a bag. She said that if he didn't want to be seen, he'd better use this. There was a rope in the bag. How would he be able to climb down the window, given that his right arm had not yet recovered? He did come down and asked if there was nothing else but rope, but it was better than nothing. So Ram bought him some clothes and shoes and a smartphone. He was very surprised. She also said that the best atelier in this city had decided to tailor a custom armor for him. Other than that, the best armor for Cha-ryung is the leather armor, and the video itself was only taken from the middle. There's no full picture, and how they defeated Rex isn't there either. Seo Ram warns that there will be no quiet life for Cha-ryung now, and not only because of the reporters, but also because of the other students as well as the monsters. Belkison didn't say anything about Cha-ryung without his consent. In the meantime, they had already reached the best atelier, and Seo Ram told them that the exam could be taken not alone, but in a group. Naturally, their parents know each other, so they agree in advance which team their offspring will be on. If Cha-ryung reveals that he's the guy, he'll become everyone's biggest rival and target. But even that doesn't scare him. He's bound to break through and get into school because it's the majority who get in, not everyone. Cha-ryung went to change, and Seo Ram finds out that the president has a meeting canceled today. Seo Ram doesn't care about time compensation. She needs armor. Exams are in 2 months. She is called Han Ga-yoon. She is 18 years old and is the student council president of Heroes High School. She had some problems, and the president of this firm is her uncle, so the meeting was canceled. Except Chae-ryong had already returned and said to stop scheming here and get the hell away from them, to which she was shocked. Their conversation revealed an unpleasant peculiarity. Han Ga-yoon has a knack for striking without physical impact. Cha-ryung, on the other hand, is disappointed in her. He didn't think a high school trash girl who can't do anything would be here. Except that she responded rudely, stabbing her multiple stab wounds without touching Chae-ryong. Cha-ryong decided to respond in kind. He tried what he had just learned, the same technique. Their proceedings were interrupted by Han Sung-woo. He is 42 years old, a former hunter and now an armor designer. He apologized for his niece's antics. She was the one who canceled So-ram's meeting, for her own reason. Seo-rem tells Cha-ryong that he just defeated the student council president, the strongest of all the students at Hero School. Depending on the rank in the school, students are allowed to advance to dungeons. If the rank is Source Stone, then they are only allowed to go with an experienced hunter no lower than Gold rank. Within the school, they form groups of students and exceptional grades that are recognized by the unofficial Sweepok Mand. They qualify to participate in raids above 5 danger stars. Now, Han Ga-yoon defeated the current student council president and was able to get elected a year early to the position. But even leaving them, Han Ga-yoon, Cha-ryong offered her a bet in which if he wins, he becomes the student council president next year. She accepts the bet. The bout will take place in the challenge room with the technique of taking steps away for each missed punch. The loser retreats a step until they are over the edge of the ring. Seo-rem tried to talk Cha-ryong out of it, but he says he'll beat her, or maybe he wants to lose to her on purpose. Han Sung-woo, already apologizing for another thing. He, as the uncle of the student council president, should watch her better. She's overreacting to every word. Han Ga-yoon will also be using one hand during the fight to keep things fair. The duel begins and she decides to kick him, only for Cha-ryong to dodge. Seo-ram and Han Sung-woo are both surprised. Cha-ryong knows exactly what he's doing. It's the look of an experienced hunter. He has a green rank and 31st ranker. In these 3 days, Han Ga-yoon has reviewed the video of Cha-ryong many times and offers him a draw because he is not able to fight as actively right now. Except that the protagonist doesn't want to end with a draw. He wants to bring the fight to an end because the post of student council president is at stake. This only made Han Ga-yoon angry. She said that if he wants to finish, let him finish, but he's not brave. He's stupid. Chae-ryong wanted to get to know Ga-yoon better in these 30 strokes. This was picked up by Han Sung-woo, who saw a direct copy of her movements in him. His goal was not to win, but to copy Ga-yoon's technique. He only needed to see her attack him, and he could already replicate her style. Chae-ryong had been smuggling since he was a little boy, and he had one rule: don't make unfavorable deals, no matter what they were. Han Ga-yoon promised that Cha-ryong would only dodge from now on until she lost to the end. The protagonist realized what kind of technique Han Ga-yoon was using and decided to respond in kind. This technique is called flash. With each blow, he was getting better and better. Even though his strength was running out, he decided to go all the way. But in the end, they are both now considered losers, but Cha-ryong proved to her that she's not that strong. But what's really at fault here is Han Sung-woo, who didn't stop the fight. He suggests that it should be held again when Cha-ryong has fully recovered. Well, Han Ga-yoon says she won't leave the main character alone if he fails the entrance exam or loses to someone else before meeting her. She came out of the testing room and told Se-rom that she was a real judge of character. After these events, Cha-ryong and Se-rom discuss what happened in the office. Cha-ryong was almost taken to the hospital because of his antics. As an apology, Han Sung-woo ordered the guys a lot of food, pizza, and other delicious food. During lunch, it was revealed that Cha-ryong hadn't eaten in a long time. Hunters have a calorie consumption 5 times higher than a normal person. Han Sung-woo said at lunch that his workshop makes not only leather armor, but also Spider Bandit threads has a 4-star danger rating. All the data on Cha-ryong has already been collected. The last thing left is impregnating the armor with oil to increase the strength of the material. Right now, there isn't the right oil for impregnation, but Cha-ryong doesn't care about that. He wants to wear the armor that Han Sung-woo made. He is very grateful and will try to produce a good piece of equipment. Besides, this conversation is about the heavenly wasps. There is one material, black wax, which Cha-ryong just took as his reward when he brought out the royal jelly. Han Sung-woo is very surprised where he got such material, so he says he saw it at Seo-ram's place, just scattered around her room like that. At the hospital, meanwhile, Im Jae-hwan, whom Cha-ryong wanted to meet, came to check on Yu-sung and they talked on the phone. Im Jae-hwan wanted to meet Zeke 11 years ago. The legendary cleanup squad, led by Yu-sung, was disbanded. Im Jae-hwan is a former hunter who was in this squad. He was the 5th-ranked South Korean fighter in the Venus squad. In the evening, Han Seong-woo and Cha Ryong were discussing the technique he taught his niece. Han Seong-woo didn't mind at all that Cha Ryong had adopted it. Se-ram came back. She handed Cha Ryong's phone over. Someone had called him, and he now needed to come over as soon as possible. They advanced to the shelter, and the caller was Zeke Eserm, who had a fight with Im Jae-hwan, and they had a scuffle. He hadn't planned on summoning him here, then healing him and dragging his body on his back. Zeke wasn't willing to do that. Kang Gun-ho helped drag Im Jae-hwan, except he was surprised that Cha Ryong was able to leave a scratch on Zeke's cheek. Cha Ryong went to check on him. He was sitting at the entrance of the dungeon, resting after the battle. Im Jae-hwan's body and self-confidence, judgment, and skills are just shattered. He couldn't defeat Zeke. Now Im Jae-hwan has a condition. He'll teach what he knows himself in a month. If Cha Ryong doesn't internalize it, Zeke won't take it. Im Jae-hwan was left with almost no strength, and Cha Ryong helped him. Im Jae-hwan will teach him magic because it's his weak point. In the past, Im Jae-hwan was in the cleanup squad along with Yu Sung. He was 26 years old at the time, and they were considering how to catch Duganagi, who was already giving them a hard time. Cha Ryong and Im Jae-hwan already knew each other at that time, 11 years ago. After sending Cha Ryong to bed, Yu Sung had already then asked Im Jae-hwan to take care of Cha Ryong. The events of the past, even now, do not leave Im Jae-hwan alone. He was out for 3 hours. The main character started working for Im Jae-hwan as early as 14 years old when his father was hospitalized. Im Jae-hwan confessed that he hates all people, especially those who turned their backs on his father and gave him a hurtful nickname. If the dragons were already a problem at that point, now even the best hunters wouldn't be able to handle even one. In addition, Im Jae-hwan gives Cha Ryong his bank account number. He's been saving everything Cha Ryong earned there. He wanted him to start his own business instead of being a hunter. He asked him to call him when the cast comes off to teach him magic, but in the meantime, let him prepare to enroll, even though Im Jae-hwan doesn't see the point. Somewhere around old Yonsan, that girl who released monsters on people came there. She is met by another bad guy who rebukes her for rarely showing up to meetings and acting out whenever she wants, except she's hitting him with words. This guy is alone now, without his guardian. The guy threatened her that he could do it all himself, and if she repeated it even once, she would be in a lot of pain. It only made her laugh, a little puppy barking at a professional. He doesn't think he'll be punished for fighting with her because she's overstepping her bounds. I mean, she knows that puppy needs to be punished because he talks bad about her. But their duel is interrupted by a man in a suit. He calls them by their names. The girl's name is Heron, and the guy's name is Gwesok. The man reminds them that they have common goals, and there's no point in them figuring things out. Because of Cha Ryong and Tir Belkason, they didn't succeed in their plan. The main problem is that Haran and the others have to hide their identities, or they'll be labeled particularly dangerous. Their dialogue was interrupted by Yung-yeol, who was working. He had brought a hunter with him. His name is Ogang Hayuk. He is 23 years old, has a 97th ranking, and is the tank of Team J and Y. He took most of his prey and hid them in the Shadow, which is the secret hunter's hideout within the dungeons. Gang Hyuk tells them that there will be a party at their sanctuary. All his team members, leader, and civilians will be there. They drink, they gather. It's mostly the rich and friends, drinking potions with relaxing effects. Yung-yeol promised to let him go if he told everything, and he was let go. To the other world. Eventually, they decide to start hunting that squad of hunters. They will be unable to defend themselves. Once the bodies of these hunters are discovered, they will wake up this world. Soon it will be time for the scar. A month later, Cha Ryong had his cast removed. He would need some time to recover his arm. His armor would be finished soon. Se-ram was able to rent a huge training center for 2 days. For recovery, in addition to that, there was still riding in the taxi. Tir Belkason, who really scared Se-ram. The training center itself has everything from a gym to a lounge area. Se-ram is embarrassed by her classmate, Tir Belkason. She is very much afraid of him. Only Chae Ryong told her about him. He's not so scary and is actually very kind. When Tir Belkason and Cha Ryong were riding in a cab, He asked who was helping him, and after finding out it was Se-rom, he's always wanted to meet her. He thinks she's cool. Cha-ryung wants to train with them because they're strong, except for that. They're outcasts and there won't be a better chance for them. They changed their clothes and decided to start for the dueling room, but they were called out there. It was Anisha Ezerm. She knew that Zeke allowed them to visit the training center while he wasn't here. Anisha tried to hurt Se-rom. She doesn't like having a lot of people and advised her to leave tomorrow morning. Cha-ryung, on the other hand, would like to exercise with more people, but the sophomore advised him to go home. The gym is busy. Except the sophomore decided to hit him. His name is Yang San-young. He didn't want to hit him for real. The main character played along. He pretended that Yang San-young had hit him, and very hard at that. Except one feinted blow was enough to know how to fight him. He decided to defend himself. There are cameras in the training room that record everything. Jang San-young tried to apologize. He only wanted to scare him, but he didn't want to hit him. Cha-ryung said he'd defend himself, and he wanted to hit him too, except Jang San-young dodged. The protagonist didn't like it. Even Anisha said to make amends. Except he attacked. They got into a fight, and Jang Sang-young decided to attack again. It didn't work. Flash and Flow went into action, but it was over quickly. Cha-ryung tripped him up to calm Jang Sang-young down, and that was the end of it. The main character tells Se-rom that he's not going to put up with everything like Se-rom does, and from now on, she won't either. Jang Sang-young decides to attack while Cha-ryung was talking to Se-rom, but at that moment, Anisha Ezerm used her magic and grabbed Jang Sang-young. Now she feels second-rate after that too. But with the protagonist under the influence of such magic, some changes began to take place. Anisha asked Cha-ryung how much she promised him she'd pay more than Se-rom. Only Che-ryung had told her what he thought of her. She only knows how to plot behind her back. Those words hurt her. She let Jang San-young go, and it looks like this week's exchange will have to be cancelled. They decided to leave because Cha-ryung, with such strength, could easily deal with Anisha. Se-rom, on the other hand, wants Anisha to not find out anything about Cha-ryung, or else she'll keep poaching him for her. But Cha-ryung realizes that he needs to put more effort into magic since his abilities activate with that kind of magic. While Jang Sang-young lay unconscious, Cha-ryung analyzed their fight with him and figured out some mistakes. He explained these mistakes to him, and Jang Sang-young himself admitted that he had gotten into trouble himself. Se-rom revealed that Tyr Belkason and Cha-ryung have bad magic stats. They need to pump them up. Other than that, their level of magic they have to put into a buff that will help them, and with that help decided to Jang Sang-young. He is the best half-buff on his course and stands out amongst others for that. They started off simple. The Firelight spell, which is a training spell, Cha-ryung mastered in 10 minutes. Se-rom was being trained at this time by Tyr Belkason, who has a magic skill much lower than Cha-ryung. While they were learning this, Cha-ryung told Jang San-young about his feelings. He had figured out how to use magic, to which Jang San-young showed him that there were magic threads in the body and they had to be used correctly. That was what he wanted to show. Jang San-young apologized for his behavior. He only wanted to impress the younger ones. Cha-ryung, on the other hand, is grateful to him, and he will wait for a better lesson from Jang Sang-yeon during these days. The training went well. After 3 days, everyone was able to tighten up their skills except Se-rom. She already had a high magic skill. Cha-ryung said that he probably won't be able to see them before the exams start, and wishes them good luck. He's most worried about Se-rom, who, if she doesn't pass her exams, will stay in her second year. He embarrassed her with that. The main character thanked Yang San-young for showing him how to use the buff. He will use it in his revenge. At home, Im Jae-hwan pleased Cha-ryung. He called the school and said that he wouldn't be able to attend classes for a month. Their training starts from today, so Cha-ryung was advised to pack her things. He also brought a weapon case that Im Jae-hwan was able to open. There was a pole lying there. There was still a note attached to the weapon. The handle had been improved, anti-slip material had been put in, and the weapon itself had been lightened by half. Im Jae-hwan suggested that he test the weapon immediately, but only Cha-ryung didn't expect such an opponent right away. It was a carnivorous ent. His danger level is 4 stars. Im Jae-hwan, on the other hand, said that he will watch his fight and help him if anything happens. Cha Ra-yoon made his needle strike, but something went wrong. The pole was more powerful. The pole appeared to be charged with magic and now requires magical energy to use it. Carnivorous Ent has super regeneration and can't be defeated so easily. Cha Ra-yoon hit him with a flow technique and noticed that something was wrong with the weapon. The pole appeared to be a hammer and then disappeared again. This is called user position. Depending on the attack, it takes the form of a weapon to attack. The main character had trouble dealing with Ant. Im Jae-hwan helped him. He put up a protective barrier and started explaining to him. To destroy a carnivorous Ent, you need to burn it to the ground, because even from a small twig it can regenerate. All of this is learned through magic, and magic is very uncomplicated. It's connected to the dungeons. Dungeons work by other laws of physics. They can take up little space and yet be huge inside. Im Jae-hwan brought Cha Ra-yoon to another dungeon. Old Sindorim, danger level A. He tells him that for 2 weeks Im Jae-hwan will train him here during the day and protect him at night, and then he'll leave. If Cha Ra-yoon lasts 2 weeks alone here after Im Jae-hwan leaves, then he will definitely pass the exam. November, the day of the internal exam, Seorem is furious. Cha Ra-yoon hasn't returned her calls in a month. He apologized to her. Seoram asked where he was, to which he replied that he was training. He'll wash up now and come over. She didn't believe he was just dressed up like that, so she decided to touch him and got scared. Except Cha Ra-yoon reacted and prepared to attack. He had gotten used to it like this during all this time in the dungeon. This was the first time Se-rom felt an ominous aura from the man, however. It wasn't the true reason for her consternation. That energy she sensed from Cha Ra-yoon was very familiar to her. That aura was very similar to that of monsters. Se-rom asked if Cha Ra-yoon was worried, but he was calm, unlike her. I guess we're done. I haven't slept for 4 days to make this retelling, and please like and subscribe to the channel and watch my other videos and write a comment because I'm very tired and I tried just for you. Thank you.